All right. It says that we're live streaming, but I haven't like set anything up yet. So here we go. Yeah. All right. We're live. Hello, everybody. That was weird. Sweet. Here, hold on a second. Let me just make sure that this is, yeah, there we go. Okay, it's live. That was just weird. Zoom and YouTube recently have not been super playing friendly together for some reason. But anyway, we're live. Hello, friends. Excited to go live today and do office hours. So let me just share this link here and close that. I guess I don't really need that open anymore. Okay, let me get my screen shared. And for those of you who are new here and you haven't done or been around for office hours, and this is just once a week, I am here to help you out with whatever. You can share your screen, or you just ask a question about your career or one-wheeling or whatever you want, and I will do my best to answer. So I give priority to people who are in the Zoom call, but I also have a place where most of the questions come in on Discord if you go to KCD Office Hours. And I think we're right here. Yeah. So Peter left something. We went like a little bit over. Well, I had a hard stop, and I have a hard stop again today at 10. So we are starting a little early. So if you're like, wait, what is this a little early? Yeah, we're starting early today because I have a hard stop at 10 for this, which is going to be a fun Twitter space thing coming up pretty soon. So look forward to that. But I think that's everything that I need to say. So right now we just got Randall here. Do you have any questions? Or Renee, sorry, your name looks like Randall. And I was like, wait, that's wrong. It's Renee. You got any questions, Renee?
No sweat. Not at the moment. I have like maybe just one super quick one that
Sure.
crossed my mind, but yeah, I'll let you answer Peter's from last week first.
Okay. Sounds good. So Peter, here, I'll just mention answering this now. Yeah, problems that lead to microservices. So yeah, last week I talked about how Remix makes it so that you don't hit the problems that lead you to want to use microservices as quickly. So those you do still have some of those problems, and we're exploring ways to reduce the impact of those problems so you can go even further before you need to jump into microservices and micro front ends and stuff. But yeah, so when you have 100 developers in your company and you just can't coordinate a monolith, yeah, that makes sense. There are those situations, and like I said, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to handle this specific use case, but nobody's tried it yet, and so we don't know how challenging that will be. But yeah, so how does Remix fit into that picture? Can you have Remix teams to collaborate with API created 20 years ago with Java teams, REST teams, C++, whatever teams? Well, so for one thing, the loader can hit any APIs that you want. So if you want to use microservices, that's totally fine. At PayPal, we had our team that had our own what's like middle tier sort of node server that proxied our client side requests to further downstream or upstream, however you want to think about that stream, as further backend APIs. And Remix would have fit so well in there. I just really wish that Remix had existed when I was at PayPal. Would have gotten a lot more done. Yeah, so that piece of it is solid. It's the micro front ends pieces where Remix fits in more. And that's the thing that we're currently working on. Now, I should say that Remix is a terrific backend as well. And so there could be opportunity to figure out a good way to have like hundreds of developers working on a single Remix project and that does backend stuff too. So more than just like, a bunch of people working on microservices and then one team has the Remix app or something. I'm pretty sure we can figure out a good way for hundreds of people to work on the Remix app itself and have the Remix app be the backend. and deploy it in maybe a microservices like architecture, or at least an architecture that solves the same problem microservices solves. But again, nobody's done it. It's way too early for anybody to have tried. And there may be problems or challenges with that. So we'll just have to see. Question number 2, how about collaboration with the security team in a company? What's the Remix story about future security CVE issues 10 years from now? I actually don't know what CVE is. Do you know, Renee? What is CVE?
I don't.
Oh, Red Hat is literally answering my question. What is CVE? Common vulnerabilities and exposures. It's a list of publicly disclosed computer security flaws. Okay, cool. Yeah, so like, oh, what's that company? No, it's not a company. It's WASP Security. It's like a, not like a spec, but oh, is that? Oh, WASP. Yeah, that's what it is. The top 10 security vulnerabilities for web apps. So yeah, I suppose that would be a subset of CVE. Yeah, so the Remix story for security. I'm not sure exactly what the question's asking. I don't think that Remix necessarily has a unique stance on this. There are benefits, of course, with having doing full server rendering and the focus of doing everything on the server. So you're less likely to forget to do validation on the server because that's like the natural place to put your validation logic. You're less likely to accidentally publish your keys because all of your data loading and everything happens on the server as well. So you're less likely to have security problems. I'm not sure like how, yeah, how like special Remix is in this context. So can't really give you any specific questions about that. But yeah, okay, sweet. Yeah, so this was referring to a previous question that we had before. Oh, okay, so this is prepped for me to answer the question. Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's go back up here. So we were talking with Bo, and now I have to remind myself, oh yeah, why this was not working. So, well, it is working. So hold on, let me get up to, oh, right, it was the console log that wasn't working. So let's clear this out. Clicking that, we get our type of function, and on button click, we click on this, we get undefined for that function. And that is correct because this onClick, there is no onClick defined here. And so therefore this onClick is going to be undefined. So therefore we won't call it. I'm pretty sure everything's working. I'm not sure what the issue was before. So Bo, if you are watching this and you are still confused, then please do give me more details. Stephen, why is the stream not 1080p? That is a Zoom thing. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like maybe Zoom doesn't support 1080p, or maybe I have something misconfigured. It's very possible I have something misconfigured. Yeah, YouTube Studio. Let's just see. Maybe there's a way to configure 1080p. It's probably too late now, but for future, I don't see. Yeah, I don't see any way to set it to 1080p on the YouTube side. So I'm guessing it would be, it would need to be on the Zoom side. I don't know if you can see this. Let's see, streaming. I don't see anything about streaming in here. So sorry, but if anybody can point me to some docs or something to make sure that we get higher resolution, then feel free to let me know and I will endeavor to give you a higher resolution. Okay. Shalini is asking, oh, I did answer. Cool. Yeah, we got that early. How to create multi-layout application in Remix. Kind of answered this just with the docs, pathlets, routes. It's awesome. Go check it out if you're interested. Why undefined state is uncontrolled. And Peter did answer this, but I will just look at it since it was asked here. Yeah, add controlled state warning. Yeah, so what's going on here is this is just an example, some example code. And so we have a name and set name, use state is initialized to undefined because we haven't passed anything. So that's what it is. It's undefined. It's not been defined, therefore undefined. So the name is then passed as the input value. No, that's a, hold on, there it is. Yeah, so the name is passed as the value here. So because
You can't.
Yeah,
Sorry
go
to
ahead.
interrupt. Yeah, you're not sharing anymore.
Oh,
What you're reading isn't up on the screen.
oh
It's
yeah,
the
your
office
screen
hours
sharing
thing.
is paused. Oh, that's weird. Thank you for letting me know. It just
Oh yeah,
like
no sweat.
said it was paused. So it's up now?
Yeah, totally up.
Okay. That is very strange. I wonder what caused it. I think maybe it was my my settings. That's here. That's just for funsies. Oh, whoops. That is not what I wanted to do. Let's see if I open up settings. Huh. No, I don't know what caused that. That's very interesting. Yes, thank you for letting me know. Okay, so because the name value on the initial render is undefined, because we're not setting it to anything, so therefore it's undefined, we're passing undefined for value, which means that it's the same as passing nothing for value, just like it's the same as passing undefined if we were to, or passing nothing here to set it as undefined. When you pass undefined as a prop value, it's just like you didn't pass it at all, for all intents and purposes. And so React is like, oh, sweet. So you don't want to control this. And then when we click on this button to set the name to Bob, this triggers a re-render. Now name is a string and value has the string of Bob. And so React is like, hey, before you said you didn't want to control this, but now you're saying you do. That can lead to some unexpected behaviors. So we're going to just say, make sure that you choose one or the other on mount time. So yeah, so that's what's going on right there. Okay, sweet. So let's come down. Where did we go? Yep, and that's probably what Peter said. Okay, Shanelia has another question. React error boundaries. If there is an error, it unmount. Oh yeah, I remember reading this. So it unmounts the child component and mounts the fallback component. Is there a way to recover the internal state of the child? Yeah, so let's just make sure everybody's on the same page with this. Actually, this isn't in my GitHub. This is Brian Vaughn. I don't remember what his GitHub username is. React error boundary. We'll just look on NPM. So, oh, actually, you know what? It'd probably be better to look at the code of an actual error boundary. So we'll pop it into here. Okay. Error boundary, here you go. You got a class. When you're talking about error boundaries, you're talking about classes. That's the only class you need to have installed in your repo. And because React error boundary exists, you don't ever need to write a class. So what's going on? Let's take a look at the render method right here. So this is like the function body of your function component. It's got a couple different options of ways that you can use it. And so we've got a bunch of if statements here. So if there is not an error, so if the error is currently null, then we skip over all of this stuff. So we don't have an error, and we're going to return the props children. So that allows you to, here, maybe now it actually makes sense to look at the examples. That allows you to say, here's my error boundary, here's like what I should do in different error scenarios, and here's the component that may possibly error. And so this is the children of the error boundary component. And so the error boundary component, if there is no error, will just render the children. It just like returns the children, doesn't do anything with it, doesn't care about the children. All it cares about is managing some state for the error and then rendering the children if there is no error. So in the case where there is an error, what's going to happen is we get this get derived state from error. That triggers a re-render when we get that derived state. And so that error is now set. We're now rendering this instead. And when that happens, when you render something else, when you change what you're rendering, React will unmount the old thing and mount the new thing. And what the question is from Shanili is there any way to maintain the state of the child component? So a use case for this would be users typing a bunch of stuff. They've typed out this enormous form. And then right when they go to hit submit or something, there's something blows up and they lose all of the state of that form. It's all gone now. And And so that's a crying shame. We really now, like when they say, okay, try again, they have to fill out the whole form again. Super, super annoying. Yeah, so the use case is clear. The solution or the problem is also hopefully clear, that when we no longer are rendering the children, if that state was contained within the children, then that state is going to be lost because it's been unmounted. So the solution is basically move the state so that it lives somewhere else. It lives higher than in the React component tree than the error boundary. The challenge here, of course, is if the code that triggered the problem is not in the component itself, but is actually in management of the state, then now you have to think about, okay, well, now we need an error boundary above that, but then like we're losing the state. So another solution to that could be, well, okay, persist it outside of the React component tree, manage it outside. But like, again, if there's an error in managing the state, like, how do you do this? And so the fact is, if you have an error in managing your state, then you're not going to be able to restore that because there's an error. So like, don't have errors, I guess, is the best solution, of course, but that is challenging. So, or it can be a problem. At some point, there's not much you can do, really. So I would say, if the error that's happening is not within managing the state, then moving the state above the error boundary is fine. And so you could put that in somewhere else. I mean, I will, of course, mention that this is less of a problem in Remix, at least for that specific use case when we're talking about forms, because, I mean, you can manage state with forms if you want to do some, like, as the user's typing, real-time form validation and stuff. Typically, I would put that like local to each individual component, and it's generally pretty simple, so I wouldn't expect an error there. Yeah, so there's a lot less room for error when you're using Remix, because most of the time you're just using like form components and stuff. And yeah, that is really nice. And then like the submission of that, Remix handles for you, sends it to your action, and then your action can do stuff. So I feel like you'd have this problem less if you're using Remix. But yeah, there's basically the simple answer to your question is no. You cannot recover the internal state of child components before you re-render the error boundary fallback. It's just not possible. And there are a lot of reasons for that. Okay, and I forgot to mention, just answered. Okay, here we go. Anton has a question. Currently looking for a suitable solution for implementing dynamic themes in app so that user easily could change application styles in admin section. I've already tried style components, CSS and JS, and CSS variables, but could not choose any yet. Please advise from your experience, what will be easier to implement and support junior developer perspective? Yes. Okay. 100% I recommend CSS variables. CSS variables will work with your styled components in CSS and JS, but it also works with your style sheets, and it works with your Tailwind. It works with all of the things. So 100% recommend using CSS variables. I actually use CSS variables on my site. If you go to the blog and you take a look at here, you'll notice that the outline is different based on which team is leading. So you've got that little dot right there. That is 100% controlled by CSS variables, and it is awesome. I wonder if I could show you. I'm not sure that I can, but let's just see if I can show you. Yeah, so there it is. Color var current team, or color team current. So whichever the current team is. And then right here, I have set color team current blue. And so then anything that is styled to just have whatever the current team is will be styled in that way. And that's how like the entire blog post is highlighted based on the current team. And then I just have to style it right up here. Boom. Everything that is styled to be whatever the current team color is is going to get that CSS variable. My goodness, CSS variables are amazing. So 100%. And on top of that, they're also way faster as well. So if you go to Epic React Dev articles, I have an article. Hold on, that was Epic Remix Dev. Epic React Dev. I was like, why isn't it auto completing for me? Yes. So CSS variables right here, where I talk about using CSS variables instead of context for theming and stuff. So you give a look over there at that. And yeah, definitely recommend CSS variables. They're awesome. Good luck. Okay, Tony, is there a way? By the way, hi, Vante. What's going on, man?
Hey, Ken, how you doing?
Good, good. Since you're in the Zoom call, do you have any questions?
I do actually. I do have a question.
Yeah. What's up?
Yes, I have a question about a test I was writing.
Do
So
you want to share your screen, or is it just like something you can talk through?
Oh no, I can share it.
Okay.
All right, give me 1 second. Okay.
Ooh,
right.
cool.
All right, so I was building this thing, right? So we have these Pokemon, and we click on one of the options, it filters them, it brings up this sort. So we click on sort ascending, we sort descending, and we reset, right? So okay, so that's the functionality that I'm trying to test. All right, so I have my test over here. Okay, so I have this test running, trying to test that functionality. And so so grab the filter. The filter types come in randomly, so I'll just grab whatever the first random one that comes back is, and then set the filter to that type. Right, and then okay, then I grab the Pokemon results, and I just get the first 5 Pokemon that come back from the fetch. All right, and that all works. That's fine. All right, so then I get the button, and then click on the button, and here is where the problem starts to happen. So I click the button, and then I grab the loading element that should be there and expect it to be in the document. It passes. It's screen.debug when I was trying to figure out what was going on. I see the loading document or loading element, but then like if I uncomment this, and what I think should happen is it waits for the loading document to be removed, and then grabs the sorted list of Pokemon, and then I just do like a real simple test to see if it's sorted, right? To see if that string, the initial string is different from the sorted string. Gotcha. And I'll just count it. So I'll just count it because I just join the names together, and I'll just assume that it worked.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Right. So but the thing is, this sorted one sometimes comes back with the unsorted results here, but it happens intermittently. Sometimes it works and other times it doesn't, but I'm not sure how to get it consistently working, or if there's no way to get it consistently working the way it is without using like MSW.
Yeah, so that's what I would say. For sure. So what's your backend?
The backend is I can show you the file, but it's just an API that the school that I teach at, some of the students had made. So
okay, so it's just like a Heroku thing. Yeah, so with this level of test that you're writing, this is more like a component level test than an end-to-end test. I mean, I suppose you could call it an end-to-end test. You just hit the real backend, but I would probably focus with the assertions that you're making. I think it makes more sense to make this more of a component level test, which is where you bring in MSW. As far as why it's coming back that way, it's possible that the API is broken. That is a possibility. The other thing that occurs to me is maybe this is all running so fast well, so you say that the
That was
loading.
that was my thought actually. That's actually my thought that
Yeah.
it doesn't take very long whenever like you click on either of these, typically, right? So I don't think it like lasts like long enough for it to like grab the element and kind of wait for the results.
Yeah. So you had the wait for loading to go away, whatever. I think you want to put that in place, but you said that doesn't always work.
No, this gets it closer, right? Because it'll wait for it, but sometimes it'll be like the element has already been removed, and those are the times I
Yeah.
think that it just kind of went too fast for it to grab it out the DOM before the results came back.
Gotcha. So I think that wait for element to be removed actually does the same thing that you're doing on 70 and 71, where it will verify that the element is in the document. So what I would do is take the thing you've got on line 70, and instead of assigning that to a variable, put that in a function that is inside of 73. Yeah. So then take the screen get by load text in place of that loading rather than using the variable. And this is actually better practice anyway, because what can happen, what we've seen happen sometimes is React will sometimes reuse DOM nodes if what you're doing isn't changing the DOM node, but actually just changing the content of the DOM node. And so if you just pass the DOM node to wait for element to be removed, then it's never actually removed. It's just the content is changed. That's not the case here, but it's just better, or it's safer to just always put the function in there.
Yeah. So the thing you just said though with it, it might reuse the DOM nodes since the initial like results when they get rendered. I don't really change the the HTML. Don't change the markup between the regular Pokemon that come back and the sorted Pokemon that come back. Do you think that might be something that's going on too under the hood?
It could be, except for since you do render the loadings. Actually, quick question: how are you rendering the loading? Is that like a suspense thing, or is that just
Just
your
state
own state management? Yeah.
Yeah.
That is better. Suspense isn't ready for data fetching yet, so it's good that you're doing it that way. So my guess is then that just because the JSX looks the same doesn't mean that React is going to reuse the DOM nodes, because you are going to render a loading state, so that gets rid of all the DOM nodes, and then you render the finished state. Now, it sounds like it's possible that there are situations where the loading state doesn't need to render at all, because something like I wouldn't expect it to be because it's so fast, because especially since you're hitting an actual API, there's no way that your API is faster than React's reconciliation. So, but do you have any sort of like global cache that could be going on somewhere so that like the loading state never actually happens?
Yeah, no, we didn't make this too like efficient on data. So yeah, I don't think that would be the case.
Yeah. Can you go ahead and save and you're running the test, right? Let's just see
Yeah.
what this does.
Okay,
Okay,
so this stuff, I expect this is because it's
oh, you haven't finished
okay.
doing all of your like waiting for loading states and stuff, it looks like.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So here. Oh, interesting.
Oh, but that screen.debug happened. Oh, wait. Yeah, that should be gone, right?
No, I think that error actually here. Can you make that area bigger, that terminal area, and then scroll up a little bit above that log there?
That's it.
Oh, that's the top. Okay. So we did get past the loading state. So the loading showed up and then it went away. Otherwise that 70 would have thrown. So then we log. Oh no, now that's interesting. Okay, so that screen debug should not log with loading, because line 70, it shouldn't get past line 70 until loading is gone.
Yes, exactly. That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Okay,
so
it's not just me. So it's
no,
not just me.
it's you. I'm wondering if maybe you get into a situation where you get the loading showing up, it gets removed, and then it actually gets added again on the next tick of the event loop, because line 70, it will call your function and be like, oh, sweet, loading is there. And it'll keep calling it. And then it'll finally call and say, oh, loading's not there. Let me proceed. And maybe between the time that it says, okay, I'm going to proceed, and we continue on our test, loading shows up again somehow. That's very odd. But one thing that you could do to test this is take that arrow function you've got in line 70 and make that multiple lines, and add a screen debug inside of that. Just after the get by text, or actually do it before the get by text.
Before this get by text?
Yeah. Yeah. So what this will tell us is it'll probably log at least twice, I'm guessing. And one time it will have the loading in there. And then the second time it will not, or at least the last time that it logs, it won't. So scroll up to the very top. Now that's interesting. Yeah, so this one, it says that the loading wasn't there to begin with. So scroll down and see that log. It's there. That is so weird. Okay, scroll up again, sorry. Oh, I know what it is. On line 72, add a return. You had the implicit return there before, and we just forgot.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, you didn't return anything. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, now let's go to the very top. Yeah, I expected to have a ton of logs because this is going to run like many times while your request is in flight.
Oh, yeah, so, that's how it goes.
That's as far as it goes. Yeah, okay. So that's interesting, because as soon as the loading is gone, it should no longer be like calling this this callback. I'm wondering if maybe one of the Pokemon has the text loading in it somehow, like preloading. Is there a Pokemon called preloading?
I don't think so. Don't think so.
Yeah. Here's what we should do to find out really quick. Let's go on line 72, turn that inside that function, turn that into a variable called loading, like you had before, but just keep it in the arrow function.
Okay. Then I screen that get by text.
Yeah. Yep. And then return loading. And then in the line right under, or move that screen debug on 71, move that or swap it with 72. And then put loading inside of that function call.
Inside of debug?
Yep. So what this will do is, instead of showing you the whole document, it's just going to show you the element. And so this will just test my theory that like maybe somehow there's a Pokemon with the text loading or something. So yeah, if you go up to the top, yeah, so we've got an H1 of loading, scroll down. That console log there looks kind of suspect. Oh, that's the whole body. So that's our 76 line. Yeah. So this one actually didn't experience the same thing the last one did. Can you hit enter and make that go again, or save your file again? We'll just see if we can reproduce the problem we had before. Yeah, see, there we go. That's interesting. Unable to find text filter.
Oh, that's with the beginning. I think that's just a bad run.
Yeah, that is suspect though. So it was in a loading state when you were looking for the filter.
Yeah, that's on the initial page load. It'll be loading.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, let's fix that really quick. That should be easy. If we go scroll up to the beginning of your test. So, oh, I see. Interesting. So you have find by label text. Oh, okay. So what was happening there on line 54 when you're finding by label text? My guess is that this timed out. It times out after 1 second because you're hitting the actual API.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, if you happen to be on a slow internet connection, these tests will fail a lot, which is one of the reasons why it's nice to use MSW so that you don't actually have a network that you're hitting. I mean, there are pros and cons, of course. Like if you're doing an end-to-end test, then you get a lot more confidence because you're actually hitting the API, and so you get even test coverage on the API itself, which is quite nice. But then you're in situations like this where
if the API starts to kind of,
if it's slow, or or if somebody pushes a breaking thing to the API, I mean, that's actually kind of nice, and to know that somebody broke the API. But yeah, you can be in situations like that. So it's all trade-offs, and you can just decide. But what I would suggest is to look up in the testing library doc sometime to see how to increase the timeout. If you're going to go with the full API, that way you don't run into those problems. Your tests will take longer, but at least they won't be flaky. So
yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so we'll leave that as it is for right now. You can figure out how to increase the timeout there later.
Yeah.
So let's look at that output now. We've got our console log, the whole body. We've got our loading. Okay, yeah. So it looks like the loading is only ever just the loading indicator that you're looking for. Can you scroll down that output really quick? Okay. Yeah. So that is so weird.
So if it's logging twice, it's picking it up twice since we're just
so what's going on is wait for element to be removed does two things. One, it just I think we have it set to 50 milliseconds. I don't remember, but on an interval, it'll just check and say, hey, is it there? Is it there? Is it there? Is it there? The other thing that it does, though, is it also sets up a mutation observer, which just checks the DOM, and the DOM will let us know when there's a change to an element. And so what we're saying is, hey, whenever there's a change anywhere in the document, let us know so we can go check to see if the change made an impact on this callback. And so, yeah, your callback can be called for either of those two scenarios. We're just checking on the interval, or just checking when there's a DOM mutation. So what's happened, what you're getting is those two loadings at the top is from our screen debug on line 72. And so that's when it's just checking because either DOM mutations or the interval. But then the line 76 is printing out the whole body, and that still has a loading state in it. And I just don't know why we would get past wait for element to be removed. If
still have a loading done,
yeah.
right?
So here, let's do one other thing. In on line 71, let's do query by text. And what this will do is it will return null if there is no loading. And so screen debug, I can't remember what it does if you do null. So change it to, instead of screen debug on 72, do a console log of the loading, because I can't remember. No, it won't. Yeah, I can't remember what screen debug does to null, if it just like logs it for you or something. But for our purposes, console log will be fine. Okay, so let's go up to the top. Oh yeah, that's why we do screen debug instead. Dang it. Okay, so just do screen debug and we'll see what happens with when it gets null. Well, it should get null. That's our expectation is that at some point it should get null. Okay, so we've got loading, and then, And
this time this time we have the content.
Yeah. But we should have gotten, screen debug probably just doesn't do anything when you give it null. Okay, so let's just to verify 100% we know what's going on. Before line 72, I want you to do if not loading, then console log loading is gone. Yeah. Just to make sure that at least wait for element to be removed is operating correctly. Oh, there's too much output. Go ahead and uncomment line 79 for now, or comment out. Yeah. What is all that? Oh, that's screen debug. What? Okay. So, okay. Good. All right. This is good. Loading is gone. So, so wait for element to be removed is operating correctly. It's doing the right thing. That at least is helpful. So something else is here. It looked like actually it worked properly that time where it's not logging loading again.
Yeah.
Where's this log coming from?
Which one?
The one we're looking at now. Do you
Um,
have another screen debug somewhere?
no, I shouldn't. No, this is the only test.
Oh,
No.
this must be coming from the error. Find all by role, maybe. If you go, no, there's no error. Scroll up just a tiny bit. What the heck? Where's that coming from?
There should be none of this being logged except for just the screen debug here.
Oh, yeah. Huh. Okay. Well, here's what we're going to do. You can basically undo all the stuff we did in that callback and bring it back to just screen get by text loading. Because we know now at least wait for element to be removed is functioning properly.
And get rid of this debug right now.
Yeah, and you can get rid of everything, and you can even go back to your implicit return if you want to. Because yeah, we know that this is actually working properly. So now it's just a matter of why is that loading showing up twice? So go ahead and hit enter.
So if it's loading up twice, then that could be an issue with how I'm managing the loading state. Then
Yeah, yeah. Let's go take a look at that.
Yes, because I'm not doing like anything fancy. All right, so here, this is really like basically the only component that controls loading.
Okay.
So it starts off true. Then there's a ternary near the bottom where if it's loading, here's where we show the loading. And if not, that's when we show all of the sort, filter, and the Pokemon.
That makes total sense. So go up to where you set loading. Okay, so here actually is
I said loading in a couple places, but I don't know if that's best.
I think that this might be part of the problem. So and we're running out of time, and I've got a couple other questions. So I'll give you a couple of recommendations that may or may not solve the problem. So one thing is that when you do any of these state updater functions inside of a callback, like a async callback, currently React has no way to batch those. And so those will trigger a re-render. And so you're setting loading to false, but you haven't changed the sort yet or whatever, right? So the solution to that would be to either move it into an object. So it's use state and here's my object. And you just have to set that object to have all of the state variables all at the same time, which is a fine solution. Or you can use reducer. And then you can just dispatch specific action. That'd probably be what I would do. The other thing to think about is just skip all this and use React Query instead. And they manage all of the state for you. And I think that would probably be a little easier. But yeah, definitely a bit more of an intrusion on what you're currently doing. But yeah, that would be another thing to look into. But I think either of those or any of those solutions, I'm pretty confident is going to solve your problem. So your homework is, if you want to take homework, if you're going to stick with hitting the actual API, and there are good reasons to do that, then you'll want to increase the timeout so that you don't have as much flakiness. Probably increase it to like 5 seconds or something. And then investigate using either an object, use reducer, which I guess would also be an object, or React Query. And if you do those two things, I'm pretty confident that your test will be a lot better.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And really, I just wanted to make sure I asked about it because I thought it was a little weird that it was going on, but yeah, that makes me feel a lot better actually.
Yeah, you're not alone. I was also baffled.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, sure thing. Okay, cool. So I've just got about 10 minutes.
Mind if I sneak in really quick?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Awesome. Should be really quick. For use state, the lazy sort of initializer, like passing in a function to initialize it.
Yeah.
Is that only for a performance optimization, or is there ever a reason to do it outside of that?
Yeah, like there technically could be a reason to do it outside of that for like if initializing state triggers a side effect, then probably should happen inside of use effect instead. But yeah, that would be another situation.
But primarily like 99% of the time it's
just
is
for
it a yeah
performance.
Cool.
And even then, like as I was updating Epic React material and thinking about things, I was like, yeah, using local storage inside of use state is just bad. It will never serve a render and everything. So that was my original example. And technically it's a side effect, so you shouldn't do that either. And so I can't remember what I ended up with. I think I may have just pulled it completely because there's not really many legit use cases for a lazy initializer.
Cool. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And then the other question is there sort of a decision tree for when to use a user defined type guard? So like a is thing, and then the return is, an is thing versus an asserts.
Oh,
like an assertion
yeah,
signature
totally.
type guard, like when you choose one or the other.
Yeah. So, I mean, so just to clarify, I understand what you mean. You're writing a function and you want, it's like a really generic function. So you want people to be able, or you're wondering if people should be able to pass their own type guard. Or are you saying like you're wondering whether you should ever write your own type guard?
Right. There's like the two ways, like you can write the type guard as n is thing or asserts n is thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like
okay.
When you decide like, oh, this is a n is thing type guard, or this is, I should use a asserts is thing type guard.
Yeah. I literally am doing this exact thing. Right? So I have this, it's not a big secret that remix conf is going to be a thing soon. That's what I've been working on. And part of why I haven't live streamed it, because like technically it's sort of a secret, but it's not.
Right.
So anyway, so we have speakers and sponsors, and these are coming from YAML files. I shouldn't show you the speakers or sponsors yet, because some of them aren't like 100% confirmed yet, but those are coming from YAML files. And there's no type safety across YAML files. We're literally just parsing those. And so what we do is we go through all of the sponsors in there, and we're using invariant, but you could also just do, in fact, we actually do a simple if statement to verify that things are of the right type. And once you do that, then what you get is like, oh, this is a sponsor. So yeah, there's 100% good use cases for is stuff. Technically, I suppose this could be an assertion, a type of assertion guard or whatever that thing's called.
That was the sort of like, oh, when to use one or the other. Is it just personal preference? Like, I don't feel like writing an if statement, so I'll just put the one line asserts is sponsor versus if is sponsor.
So I've actually got both of those use cases. So this could be an assertion instead of using invariant. We're kind of doing extra work here. But this one is 100% useful as a type guard. Because if it is a sponsor array, then we'll just return the cache value. If it's not, that's fine, because I can just read the new one and set the new cache value.
Got it. So yeah,
I don't need to throw.
Makes sense there. Yep. Got it. Cool.
Yeah. All right. Sweet. So with I should probably leave with at least like 2 minutes to spare to get on the spaces thing. So Tony is asking about MDX bundler without script source and unsafe eval. Yeah, there are problems with this. I think Cloudflare workers can't do eval, for example. So trying to accomplish this in Next.js, but couldn't get the components ahead of time and get static props to avoid this due to serialization. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why get static props is causing you issues. I know that people are using Next with MDX bundler, so I would just look at what they're doing. You could probably Google it. I know there are a couple blog posts about that. Or you could just look up in the issues. I would just recommend doing what they're doing. There's not really a way to do this because MDX bundler's output is code and you have to eval that somehow. So like, I suppose one thing that you could do is actually save that code to disk and then require it. So that is an option, I suppose, as like a pre-build step or something. I don't know. That would be kind of interesting. Yeah, the alternative is to not use MDX and instead just use Markdown. And then it's not code, it's HTML that you dangerously set in an HTML. And there's that. So then you're not evaling. But then, of course, you can't use MDX and all of the cool things we like about MDX. Okay, Chris is asking about beautiful D&D library to manage countering issues, drivable functionality. If we refresh, doesn't it does work again. Force updating state does not fix the issue. Yeah, I actually have no idea, Chris. You'd have to create a reproducible example. And then even then, I have never used React Beautiful D&D, so I'm not sure that I would be too much help. I'm sorry. But producing a reproducible example will probably help you figure out what the problem is. That's often why people ask for reproductions, because normally that's the path to finding the issue. So that would be the next step if I were you. Sorry. Devin, do you have suggestions for data table libraries? Tried React Table, but it's been a bit of an issue since TypeScript isn't natively supported. Yeah, so I know that Tanner Lindsley is working on React Table actively right now. And I thought that he had released the TypeScript version, but maybe not. But yeah, is V6 the next one? I'm guessing. Back in October, I'm guessing that is not correct. What is the latest version of React Table? Let's see, npm. Yeah, okay, so it's not V6. This doesn't support TypeScript. It's on definitely typed, I guess. I thought that he was working on something here. I'm not sure. That's what I was thinking when I was reading your question. It's like, oh, React Table, and then you said you had trouble with it. I thought he was working on like a rewrite of React Table in TypeScript. So you might ping him in the issues. I don't know. I hate to say that, but okay. Tony, how would you sell value of React testing library to a team that mostly uses Cypress for everything? Cypress is great, and testing library has an implementation for Cypress. Yeah, Cypress right here. So you can use testing library with Cypress, and the Cypress team in the past has recommended it. They just never updated their docs, and I didn't care to do that myself. Oh yeah, and Tiger is talking about this. Yeah, so if you are using testing library with Cypress, then you won't be so upset about using Cypress for everything. The biggest issue is between Jest and Cypress, and a lot of people prefer Jest, myself included, because it has better watch mode and can like run only the tests that are impacted by your changes and stuff like that. So yeah, I typically would use that for lower level function tests for like complex utility functions, pure functions, that sort of thing. It is really, really hard. Like actually, you know what? I don't have time. I gotta just answer this. If you go to my blog and trophy, this one, take a look at this blog post. And that is what I would say. Good luck. Okay, I've got to run. Feel free to join me on this. This is going to be fun. And I will see you all in like 2 minutes over there. Thanks for hanging out. Vante, that was a very fun and a cool question. So thanks for bringing that along. And yeah, we should be, let's see, I don't think I've got anything going on next week. Let me see, the 28th. Yeah, pretty sure I'll be around the 20. Oh, no, just kidding. I do have a cancellation on the 28th. What's going on? Oh, I was going to be at Agent Conf, but that was canceled and made online. So I should be around next week. So anyway, I got to run. It's been awesome. Thanks, everybody.